Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Landry and I started a new series on my channel where each and every week I talk all things best medicine. If you're not sure what best medicine is, it is an American adaptation slash spinoff of a beloved British TV series called Doc Martin, which was on the air for 18 years. It sadly came to an end in 2022 after 10 successful series, but I did not come across the show until 2024, where I immediately became in love and addicted to the show and have since watched the series through 3 times and counting. So when I found out we were going to have an American inspired show similar to Doc Martin, I could not wait, and I wanted to make a series on my channel where I talk all things best medicine in a best medicine fan's perspective and a Doc Martin fan's perspective. Each and every week, I like to react to the video to each episode and share my thoughts about the episode as a best medicine fan, and then kind of share my thoughts about how it relates to Doc Martin as a Doc Martin fan's perspective. This week we do not have a episode to react to because they decided to take a break, but we'll be back next week with the remainder of the episodes of season 1, which I believe we have 3 left. So I thought this would be the perfect time for me to do a kind of a recap mid-season perspective predictions kind of video. So I hope that you will join me as we dive into that. I do want to give a disclaimer if you have not seen the current episode of Best Medicine or have seen the show in general. You may not want to watch this video until after watching because I will be sharing some spoilers. Also, if you're not up to date and you're curious about what my thoughts are from the past 10 episodes so far, I've created a playlist on my channel where I dive deep into each and every episode. But with that being said, if you are caught up like myself and you're curious what my thoughts are, please come and let's talk about it. So, in this video, I want to in particularly talk about my thoughts about how the show is moving so far. I want to talk about some topics that I feel like I want to learn more about, or maybe dive deeper into the topics if I feel like I didn't talk about it enough in my past videos, because I feel like there's some key things that I could have dove deeper in as I rewatched my reaction videos, and then just talking best medicine in general. So first of all, I want to say that I feel like with us having 10 episodes under our belt, I feel like this show is becoming a really good show that I'm loving and enjoying watching every single week. I had somebody ask me what makes me want to watch Best Medicine. Why do I come back every single week and watch the show? I had to think about it, and my honest opinion is Best Medicine for me is a heartfelt show that I feel like in some ways I can relate to. And it's just a show that I love to watch every single week with my family. And it just gives me an hour of time, an hour each and every Tuesday night to just enjoy the show and not think about things that are going on in my life and in the world. It's a time to just be happy and just spend time with these Portland characters that we're getting to learn about and I'm starting to love. I feel like when I flip the TV on and I'm watching Best Medicine, I am part of the Portland community. And I'm always excited to see what event are we going to have going on this week. What kind of banters and interests are the characters going to get into? And that's just what I love about this show. And I feel like this show just is a good show to watch with family and friends to kind of get away from the world for an hour each night. That's why I think I tune into Best Medicine. I do want to start talking about characters and their developments, because I feel like at least every single character on this show has changed and we've got to learn more about them as we've progressed in the season. The main character I think about is Dr. Martin Best. I feel like when we saw him in season 1, or episode 1 rather, that he seemed like a very grumpy person that does not like people, and that I was very like I didn't know what to think about this character, because I was like, you're moving into if you don't like to interact with people, why did you move back to this small town? Because that's what small towns are like. Know one another, and you are constantly do things with one another, and if you don't like doing this, then maybe you need to move back to the city. And I feel like as the seasons progress, we are slowly learning more and more about Martin Best, and maybe it's not his fault that he is the way he is. And what do I mean by that? I mean, there's a lot of trauma that went on in his life. And it sounds like that he was taught that he needs to hide these emotions, that he he shouldn't talk about these things, and that not everybody cares, because it seems like that's how it is with his parents because of the whole accident with his sister. It sounds like he never had anybody to talk about that with because his parents wanted to leave that in the past. And so as I'm watching and seeing this character develop, it's like I understand Martin. I understand that it can be hard to open yourself up with people, and it's hard to trust people. So I think that they've done a really good job developing Dr. Best's character throughout the season. We're getting to learn, and we're slowly peeling an onion, so to speak, and getting to know more about this character. I mean, we learned that obviously he had a sister who died in a car accident when she was 8 years old, and it's like that's got to be traumatic. I mean, we don't know if he was in the car with her. We don't know how he found out. We don't know much about that, and that's one thing I want to dive into this video is I want to know more about Rosemary. I have some speculation. We also have this huge blood phobia, which is a super big problem, especially as a doctor. Um, it's not just he's nauseous, he can't stand the sight of blood. He literally passed out several occasions. So that's got to be concerning, and I've got questions about that. We slowly see that he really was good at what he did before he came to Portland to be their general um, physician. I mean, he was a heart surgeon. It sounds like he was a very successful one in Boston. And you can tell that he loved doing surgery. I mean, in episode 8, during the autopsy, he was having the time of his life. He actually looked happy. So you can see that it bothers him that he is not able to do the things he loves because of this blood phobia situation. And you can see that it is affecting him. And he is finally wanting to kind of work through this. And I think we're also seeing that he beats himself up over things. He basically showed that in episode 10, the last episode we've seen, when he confesses to Louisa, how do I call myself a doctor? I have a blood phobia. Like, what kind of doctor has this problem? And, she comforts him and is like, no, I see more to you than that. Blood phobia, no blood phobia. You have a gift, and you saved a person's life. So, like, there's a lot going on, and I think we're slowly seeing Martin's character open up to people. He's not keeping those emotions and thoughts shut in anymore. So that's one thing I like about this character is we're learning more and more. He's not a grumpy. Yes, he seems grumpy, has bad bedside manner, but like there's a story behind how he became who he is. And I think that we're slowly going to learn more and more about this character as we progress. Aunt Sarah's character is one of my favorite characters as well. I've always, since the beginning, loved Aunt Sarah. I love Annie Potts. She does a wonderful job playing this character. And, like, this character, Aunt Sarah, just kind of surprises me. I never know what to expect when I watch every single week. I mean, episode 3 is a fine example. Never in a million years did I think that her and this Eddie McCoy, her rival, I never in a million years did I think that they were going to have a love interest with one another and going to start making out at the end of the scene. Like, and then to find out that it's a reoccurring thing, it happens every year, that Louisa tells Martin that, is like, I never saw that coming whatsoever. I just find it funny. Aunt Sarah's character just makes me laugh. I mean, she's the heart of the community. She cares about her townspeople, and she's always trying to bring people together during difficult times. An example of that is the blackout when they had no electricity. She made the suggestion, why don't we have karaoke night and bring our favorite dishes to lift everybody's spirits. She also seems like a type of person that does not care what you think about her. If she's going to say what's on her mind, and she's going to do what's on her mind. Prime example is, I mean, the whole thing with the Eddie McCoy destroying his property, slashing his tires. She cut herself sabotaging his lobster cages. And another example would be last week's episode, whenever she did not want to be a part of the funeral arrangements for the Kloof sisters, and she was very vocal about that. And Martin told her that she needed to stop making a scene, and she said, if you want to see a scene, I can make a scene. So it's just that her character in general just cracks me up, and I can't wait to see each each and every week what Aunt Sarah is getting herself into. I mean, there's a lot of things about Aunt Sarah that I'm curious about. I mean, we learned about the affair situation. Why she was not able to see Martin anymore was because she had an affair with the principal at the time, who was married. And Martin's father Robert made a agreement with Aunt Sarah, told her that if she continued to have the affair, then she would never see Martin ever again, like coming back and forth. Or she could end the affair now and she could see her nephew. And clearly she chose the principal over her nephew, and then they ended up moving away. So there's a lot of questions about that. I'm curious. It seems like Aunt Sarah regrets those decisions in a way, and she misses her and wants to make up lost time. And that's shown even in the Blueberry Festival when she was very disappointed with Martin when she thought he came to have lunch with her, surprise her, and it turned out he wanted to was mad at her because she missed her doctor's appointment. And there was a whole thing between them. So you can tell that Aunt Sarah beats herself up for past um things she's done in her life, and she just wants to have more family time with her nephew, well, make up for lost time. And I just love the character, like I said, in general, and I have questions. I have speculations about um who the principal might be, which I'll dig into later. Um, I've always loved Louisa's character. I think Abigail Spencer does a phenomenal job playing Louisa, and I could tell from the get go that maybe Martin and Louisa just had that connection. I think it has to do with Josh Charles and Abigail Spencer playing those characters. They just do a good job. Um, when they're having scenes together, I just enjoy it so much. And every time I see them, I always kind of like giggle about their little awkwardness when they try to like have conversations and stuff. And whenever they kissed, I was very happy. And immediately when Martin kind of was an idiot and said basically, "Hey, if you want to pretend the kiss never happened, we can. That's fine with me." I was mad. I was like, "What are you saying? Don't say that. What are you doing? Like, you don't mean that." Is what I was saying practically to the TV, and I'm like, "You can't hear me," but like, I really love Louisa's character. I think that she is a sweet person. It was interesting to get to know the character as we learned that her and the sheriff had a thing and they were going to get married. And for the longest time, the whole thing about her character was that she broke Mark's heart. And I think slowly we get to learn more and more about Louisa. I mean, she's a caring person that cares about the school more than anything. She's the only one that cares that the school could potentially get shut down. She's been put in this awful position of having to basically pick up the pieces because the principal, Dum Dum, left her with this. And I think every week, I just can't wait to see more and more of her character. And I can't wait to see the relationship between her and Dr. Best progress. And I'll dig into that a little bit more later. Elaine's character is a character that I really want to talk about because I feel like I've had a love-hate relationship with this character. I feel like I've grown to love her more and more as we progressed in the season. My first impressions of Elaine was not that great. To be honest, I was annoyed by her character. I couldn't stand the character. I was thinking this is going to be a long season if we got to deal with this every single episode. I mean, the whole aspect of her having these talk shows and podcasts and all this stuff during her work hours as being the receptionist just didn't sit well with me whatsoever, and I didn't like the things that she did. But I think episode 4 is what really made me open up and have a better understanding of her character. That episode was Blaze Day when we find out that her mother was getting married to Dum Dum, which at the time we did not know, but later learned was the principal. And it was just that scene with her and talking and opening up to Dr. Best is the scene that I think really made me realize and start to understand her character. I mean, it sounds like she did that. We don't know what happened to her father. We don't know if he walked out. There's been a divorce. He passed away. We don't know nothing about that. But it sounds like it was hard for her to move on. And the fact that Dr. Best, being the character he is, ended up taking the time and opening up to her about how he understands and can relate to her, and tells her about his sister Rosemary who had died at a young age, just really made me realize there's more to this Elaine character. she has potential, and I just hope to continue to see her grow as a character. And I think it's been a hit and miss throughout this season. I mean, at some points we got to see Elaine's character evolve. I mean, she went from being this jealous, not necessarily jealous, well, may not that's not the word I'm looking for. She went from being this self-centered person that just wanted views and attention from her show to actually caring and being concerned about people. For example, when she found out that Dr. Best has this blood phobia and she says, I won't tell a soul, in episode 6, the Blueberry Festival, when she blackmails him, I started to think, oh, this is what I was afraid of. This character is going to turn on him and is going to lose his trust after the relationship they have built between one another. And then it slowly changes at episode 7 where you can tell that she really does have um, empathy and sympathy towards people. I mean, she went and got his groceries so that he could avoid the blood factory. I mean, if that doesn't show that somebody does have what's the word I'm looking for? Really can care for somebody else and show support for somebody else, that is a key example right there. And I just think that her character is slowly getting better and better, and I think that the blunt, rude, hard truth that came from Vanessa, Martin's mother, asking her the question, do you really want to put garbage out in the world, or would you rather make real art, got her thinking, and I think that we're going to see more better results in Elaine's character as the season progresses and we get into season 2. I really think that Elaine's character is going to change in a way that we won't see coming. I think the podcasting might be behind her. That's my thoughts about Elaine. Same thing with Sheriff Mark's character. I had a love-hate relationship with this character. I just felt like the first few episodes, it didn't start getting better until the last few. I just felt like he was too much, over the top, kind of was annoying. I couldn't believe that this kind of person was a sheriff. I mean, that might sound bad, but I mean, I didn't know what to think about this character. He was kind of annoying, the things he says and does. And I've slowly realized that maybe this is who he is, and maybe we will learn more about why he is this way, and that I've just gained to start to love and accept him as this quirky, weird character in the town. But yeah, once again, I didn't know how to feel about his character going into watching this series. I love Greg and George's characters. I've came to realize that George is the professional person that follows the rules and will call you out if he thinks that you're doing something terribly wrong. Whereas Greg is more of the rule bender. If he can do this to save money or if he can do this to make money, he's going to do it, whatever the cost may be. And we've seen this in several occasions between the telling people that the person that wrote the Blood Factory book was coming to town to visit during this event, and without Sally Milo knowing him on a personal level, that was not going to happen. And the fact that him and Bert was making money off of this bog man, giving tours to take selfies with the body and see the body was just so hilarious to me. And George was not for it whatsoever, but slowly came to the idea once Greg told him what the benefits of this was. So I love these two characters. I feel like I would love to see them more in episodes, but for now, I feel like every time I see them, they make me smile and make me laugh of the things they say and do. Same thing with Bert and Al's characters. I really love the father-son duo, but I feel like we don't see them as much as I wish we would. In the episodes, it's a hit and miss kind of thing. And this whole thing about learning about Al being the smart, brilliant young man, I mean, we kind of figured that out whenever he was good with computers, and he ended up getting the job of being Martin's IT man whenever there was issues in the doctor's office. And then we later learned that he got perfect SAT scores in school. So I'm really wanting to learn more why Al is still in Portland, what's holding him back. And then we have this thing that's hovering over my head, the whole Bert an Al father-son situation. We find out that Bert may not be Al's father because of the DNA test he took. And I just have questions about that. And I'm wondering if we will revisit that. Bert's character in general makes me laugh. I feel like Bert is the kind of guy that he will do anything if he can benefit from it. I mean, we've seen that in several occasions. The buttering up to be the Blueberry Festival judge, having the people, do things for free, wash his car, give his car oil change, mow his lawn, free food, that kind of thing, and then even making a profit off of the Bogman with Greg was just so funny to me. Bert's just that kind of guy, and I love his character for that. I think it's funny and a good character. And I think I've covered all of the characters that I was thinking about. Oh, I guess we need to talk about Sally Milo, the chemist, the pharmacist. I have mixed emotions about her. I don't think we learned enough about her. She's only been on an episode here and there, and I would love to learn more about this Sally Milo. I have questions. I want to know where Mark's father is, since Sally is his mother. And I always wondered what happened to her father. Are they divorced? Did he pass away? Did he leave her? Like, what's the story behind it? And I also find it funny that she has these flirting moments with the doc, and clearly he is not having the same thoughts and feelings as she is, and she's oblivious to that, and I just think it's funny. I think her character is a very interesting character, and I feel like we need to see more and learn more about her for me to get a gauge of my thoughts about her. And plus, I want to know about the neck brace. Why is she wearing a neck brace? What happened? She says it's a long story that she would have to tell us later, but she's never told us, and I'm just curious. Did she have an accident? Is it just for show? Like, what's going on? That's my thoughts about Sally Milo. She's a very interesting character that I think fits in well for Portland, the community of Portland. These characters, you got a character, personality for everything, pretty much. So yeah, that's my thoughts about characters and development. So let's talk about events that I feel like I want to learn more about. The two main things that I want to learn more about is the Rosemary situation and the blood phobia. When we found out that the reason Martin had his episode with the freeze up in the surgery was because it reminded me of his sister Rosemary, I immediately was like, okay, who's Rosemary? What's going on? And slowly we began to learn that Rosemary was his 8-year-old sister that died in a car accident, and it's just really affected Martin all his life, pretty much. There's not a day that goes by that he doesn't think about his sister. And we're starting to learn slowly more and more that that's just how it's going to be, that nobody wants to talk about his sister. I mean, his parents are a prime example of that. They never want to bring it up. They get very offended and defensive if you bring up Rosemary's name in any situation. That was clear whenever the whole dinner table subject about the house was brought up with Aunt Sarah. And so it seems like Martin and Aunt Sarah are the only ones that still think about this Rosemary and still talk about her in her memory. And it makes me think that we're going to get to learn more and more about this Rosemary character because of the fact of the end of episode 9, Martin puts her name on the memory tree, meaning he's never going to forget her. So I'm hoping that we get more context on what happened to Rosemary. I want to know, was Martin in the car when the car accident happened? Who was driving? Was it Robert? I feel like it was Robert, his father, because Robert blames Martin, it seems like, in every situation, because it's always, Martin, why did you do this? Look what you've done. Like, it always seems like he has some disapproval towards Martin. And I'm wondering, was that like that all his life, or did it start happening after the whole car accident, losing the sister thing? I also have questions about the blood phobia. I want to know why Martin has this blood phobia. Has he had it all his life and just hasn't known about it? Or did he have it this whole time he was practicing surgery and it just got out of hand one day when this young girl looked way too much like his sister? Those are the questions I have. And I feel like we're going to slowly get these questions answered by the end of season 1. If not, it'll be an ongoing thing in season 2. I also think that with the blood phobia perspective, I feel like Glendon is going to make another appearance before the season is over with. If you don't remember who Glendon was Martin's bully. in Port Wynne, and he always bullied Martin when he was visiting his Aunt Sarah, and with the whole losing his sister thing and the bully, it was just too much for Martin. And Glendon kind of threatens Martin in episode 3 whenever he had the restraining order against Martin on his son, Glendon Jr., after he tripped and fell on him and broke his leg. You have Glendon threatening Martin, telling him that he knows what happens and what happened in Boston. Martin, in a way, was like, okay, I don't care. But in another way, I think Martin was a little concerned. And I think, in my opinion, that possibly Glendon may know why that Martin has the blood phobia and may know why he has the blood phobia. And I think that Glendon will come back and will spill the beans about Martin's blood phobia because it's too easy for Martin to not have shared this blood phobia and has been hiding this whole season, and nobody in the town has caught on. I mean, the only two people in the town that knows about it is Elaine because of the first episode, and she kept it a secret. And then he ends up telling Louisa about it in episode 8. He comes clean in the Bogman episode. Tells her that's he wasn't avoiding her, that he has this blood phobia, that's why he acts the way he acts. So I feel like even his parents don't know, so I feel like Glendon is either going to spill the beans about him having this blood phobia, or something tragically happened in this last operation that costed Martin to quit doing surgery, and it's going to be revealed. That's just what I think. I think Glendon is going to pop back up into the picture. That's my thoughts about the Rosemary blood phobia. Now, another thing that I think is going to happen is I think Martin and Louisa's relationship is going to be kind of put on the sidelines for these last 3 episodes, or there's going to be a little bit more awkward tensions, like in I think it was episode 7, they were awkward after the kiss at the Blueberry Festival. Yeah. And I think that they're going to start avoiding one another, and I think that it's going to take a long time before they become talking and friendly again. I think that Martin's comment about forgetting the kiss ever happened is going to really affect the progression of their relationship. I also think that maybe Sheriff Mark, is going to make the situation even more awkwarder because I feel like the significance of him being shown seeing them kissing in the last episode is going to cause friction between the two of them. I think he's going to bring it up. I don't know if it's going to be subtle or if he'll just point blank bring it up. But I just think that that's going to be a conflict of interest right there. It's Sheriff Mark is kind of trying to clash with the development of their relationship. That's just my opinion. I'm curious to see if we learn more about Aunt Sarah's financial troubles because I feel like that's a huge thing. And I think that Robert will end up selling the house out from under her, but I think that Martin will help her out and make it to where she can stay in the house, whether she likes it or not. He offered to pitch in, and she said she doesn't take charity from her family. And I just think that that's what's going to happen. I think that we will see the school getting closed, but I think that there will be a fundraiser or something that Port Wynne will put together, being the tight-knit community they are, and I think they will come together and save the school. I don't think that they will lose the school for good. That's just what I think. And I think Louisa will become the principal permanently. Let's see. I think Al and Elaine's relationship will develop more and more. I think they'll start sharing things. I think Al will eventually tell Elaine what he found out from Martin, Dr. Best, that his father may not be his father. And I think that Elaine will come clean and tell him that she's thinking about going to drama school to become an actress. I don't know how Al will react. I feel like, in a way, maybe Al will try to talk her out of it. But then again, I'm wondering if maybe Al will take Louisa's advice and maybe apply to a college somewhere with those SAT scores being as high as they are. But I don't know. That I just think that in the end, Al and Elaine will start talking and sharing the things that's been going on in their lives with one another, and they'll become more and more serious. I think that eventually Al will also confront Bert and will ask him point blank if he is his father and tell him that he got the DNA test. And I don't know if we will see this resolve very soon. It may become an ongoing thing, But I'm curious to also see if Bert is the father, or if there's been a little bit of a story that hasn't been shared moment between the two. I think that pretty much covers it. Um, I do have a speculation that maybe possibly this Eddie McCoy could be the long lost principal that Aunt Sarah had an affair with. But at the same time, it may seem far fetched. It may be far fetched, but it just seems too coincidental that this person she has is her rival every single year, and every single year they do the same thing and they make up and kiss. And the fact that she even played hard to get whenever he said when she needed help with the lobster catches. He said she didn't have to pay him, that she would just if she would just allow him to take her out for dinner, and she said absolutely not. I think that there's more to this story, and I'm wondering if we will learn more. Or if it's just a casual, your everyday love hate relationship with a person. That's just how it is between the two. Who knows? I do think that I would love to see more of Elaine's mother. I mean, I didn't like Dum Dum, the principal. I could do without him, but I think I would love to see Elaine's mother come back into the picture, like us see her more on screen, and maybe her mother having a heart to heart about her career choices. Maybe her encouraging her to go to drama school. Do I think Elaine will leave? I have mixed opinions. I think yes, Elaine will go to drama school to become an actress, but I feel like something will happen and she'll back out and she'll come back to Portland and continue being the receptionist, or she will end up not going at all because Al will talk her out of it. I don't know which way it's going to go yet, but that's my thoughts about that. I think it'll be the same way with Al. I think he'll be talked out of leaving Portland to pursue his um whatever he may want to do with those SAT scores. I think he'll uh end up staying and helping his dad like he's been doing. I don't think he'll end up leaving. But we will see, time will tell. But yeah, I think that's my predictions. And yeah, I think that'll conclude my best medicine part of this video. I do want to say that another thing I like about this show is I love that we have a theme going every single week, because I feel like I can relate to the show with these themes. For example, the baked bean supper in episode 2 reminds me of the barbecue fundraiser we would have every single year for my church. It just reminded me of that. The baseball game, I can relate to that. I mean, around here we're big into sports. Episode 4, I can't really relate to Blaze Day, unfortunately. I don't know if I can relate to that, but that was a funny episode to watch. The blackout, I mean, I guess I can kind of relate to that whenever we had our Hurricane Helene and the devastating time the counties around me got hit worse than I did where I live, but the fact that all of these people came together to in a time of need was incredible. So that I guess I can relate to that in that sense. The Blueberry Festival reminds me of the annual Blackberry Festival that we have every year in my town, the North Carolina Blackberry Festival. The Bogman episode I don't really relate to. I don't think I've ever found a dead body and had to do an investigation. Thank goodness. So I don't really relate to that. I can relate to the sleepover, sleep in episode 9, because it reminded me of the lock ins we would have as youth in our church. That's what that reminded me of. And then the bird watching episode, last week's episode, I just relate to because I'm a photographer. I love to watch and take pictures of birds. So I just feel like I can connect with the show in that aspect of it. And I just can't wait to watch every single week to see what's going to go on in Port Wynn. I feel like I'm now a part of the Port Wynn community. That's what I love about this show. But yeah, I think that concludes my thoughts and predictions for this episode. And I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see you guys next week when we are able to react to episode 11. So I hope everybody has a great day, and I will see you next week. This is the part of the video where if you are not a Doc Martin fan like myself and have never seen the show, that you may not want to watch this because we will be doing some spoilers. So take care to all my best medicine folks. Until next time. If you made it to this part of the video, it means you are a Doc Martin fan like myself, and you may or may not be enjoying Best Medicine. In my opinion, I am enjoying Best Medicine just as much as I did watching Doc Martin, but I have mixed opinions, so I thought I would come on here today and share those. We have no new episode to react to. My thoughts about Best Medicine is when I first found out that there was going to be a show, an American adaptation, I was excited slash had mixed opinions. In my opinion, Martin Clunes is the Doc Martin. Nobody can replace Martin. He will forever be the Doc Martin in my heart. Just saying. I mean, I love Martin Clunes. I love all the projects he does, and the fact that we even get to see him in Best Medicine as Robert Best was just phenomenal. I just loved watching him. He's incredible at what he does. He's so talented. He's a fantastic actor, and watching, yes, I saw a little bit of Martin Elliott coming out of his character Robert, but at the same time, he brought a new character that I could come to know and appreciate. And I'm just was so happy that we got that. I wasn't sure what to expect when we got that episode. And I'm really hoping that maybe if we continue to get new seasons renewed, I'm hoping that maybe since we are told for sure season 2 is happening and there are going to be 12 episodes, 100% definite, that maybe they have an episode plan where the parents will come back into the picture, because I feel like there's so much more we could talk about and learn from Martin's parents. I feel like they didn't make it where they had to close that chapter of Martin's life. I feel like that they could still make some episodes with the parents, is what I think. With that being said, yeah, my thoughts about Best Medicine is while watching, I'm not gonna lie, when I started watching, I was kind of putting it under the microscope, saying, okay, you say you're the American version of Doc Martin. I'm going to inspect you, and I'm going to really dig in to see if you are what you say you are. And I can happily say that after watching these episodes of Best Medicine, I can happily say that we can put Best Medicine on a separate shelf. We can put this new storyline on the shelf as its own project. Yes, we have some Doc Martin aspects. There's some things that are intertwined into these episodes, and I think they do that to bring the joy and happiness of Doc Martin into the Doc Martin fans' lives. Because we grew up, we got to know this town and this Port Wynne in Cornwall, this beautiful town, and we got to know all these characters and got to see all these storylines. And so I think it's just a tip of the hat to us Doc Martin fans for them to add these little things here and there into the episode. But for the most part, I feel like Best Medicine is its own little show. I mean, in my opinion, I think Best Medicine, it kind of the main goal for this show in particular, is each and every week, each episode has a theme. I think when I watch Best Medicine every week, I am guaranteed that there is going to be a theme that is going to be held, and that everything that happens in the show will be involved in this theme. Whereas in Doc Martin, I feel like when I watch Doc Martin, I'm part of Port Wynne, and when I'm part of Port Wynne, it's like I'm a member of the community. But yeah, when I watch Doc Martin, I feel like I'm a part of the community. I feel like Dr. Martin Elliam is my doctor, Mrs. Tishel is my chemist, Bert and Al are part of my community. They're like my neighbors. And I feel like, in a sense, when I watch Doc Martin, as I dig in, I'm like, okay, we're going through our day-to-day lives, and in Doc Martin, it feels like they're not really filming a TV show. It feels like it's just these everyday characters living their lives, and we're just there witnessing it. I mean, I feel like in Doc Martin, we see more patients being seen. I see like it seems like there doesn't have to be a theme to an episode, that it's just everyday people that may have a doctor's appointment and need to be seen are being seen. And that if there's an accident that happens, that it's not like scripted or anything. This is like something, accidents do happen, and that the doc is responsible for taking care of the townspeople if this happens. Whereas in Best Medicine, I feel like it's more of every episode has a theme to it and they're sticking to it. Like the baked bean supper, the whole episode was evolved by the baked bean supper. And that, yes, there was a sickness outbreak, but it affected the whole town because Martin wanted to cancel the baked bean supper because of the sickness. Same thing with the baseball game. He accidentally injures the star player, and the town despises him because of that. And it's all about the baseball game. That's what the whole episode was about. And I just feel like that's what makes Best Medicine unique. Is they're taking ideas from Doc Martin, and they're adding it in here and there, but they have their own foundations and concepts for the episode, or the episodes, that doesn't make you feel like this is a copycat show, in my opinion. I feel like I can watch Best Medicine now and enjoy it as it is and not expect it to be Doc Martin, the American version. And I think that's what I love about this show, is that I'm able to enjoy it more and more and not have those expectations that I did have beginning when I was watching. Now, don't get me wrong, I can get a little frustrated when I watch a few of these episodes and I know exactly where the story is going, where the storyline is coming from. Like, example, the first episode, that was practically the first episode of Doc Martin right there. I mean, the whole affair thing and the mystery of why both men have the same medical condition, and it turns out it's because the woman was having an affair, and the whole punch to the face to the doc because he got in the middle of it. Same thing with last week's episode 10, the whole Peter Cronk situation. I mean, I kind of knew that's what was coming because of the whole ambulance scene and everything. So I do get a little frustrated when I watch that kind of thing, and I can catch on very fast what's going on. But for the most part, I feel like moving forward through this season, they've done a really good job of not making things that obvious for us Doc Martin fans, which I can love and appreciate. I was afraid it was going to be a constant remake, copy everything that happened, and we were going to have to just deal with it, but luckily that's not the case. So yeah, that's my thoughts about Best Medicine as a Doc Martin's perspective, fan's perspective. I 100% enjoy the show and will continue watching. Not just because I love making these videos, but just because in general it is a good show to watch. And I feel like I said at the beginning of this video, I feel like Best Medicine is a show that allows you to take an hour out of your day or night, and it allows you to just enjoy the moment and not have all these constant things bother you or make you worry or things like that. I'm so happy that I can dedicate my 8 o'clock time slot on Tuesday nights with my parents to watch this funny, dramatic comedy show, and I just love it. Things make me laugh. Things make me kind of emotional, and I think that's just good TV right there. Before watching Doc Martin, I gotta say I don't think I've laughed so hard in a show for a very long time. I have my TV shows that I love to watch, and I've watched for years. There was something about putting an episode of Doc Martin on, the comedy of it, the characters in general just made my day, and like made the time pass so fast. I just going through each and every episode, it was addicting. I feel like I was watching a series a night, it felt like, because I was going so fast through these episodes. But you just get sucked into the storyline, and I think that's Best Medicine has a potential of doing the same thing. I think it has the fan base that it needs, and I think that eventually, as they decide how they want to go about with these characters' developments, which they are already doing, and adjustments, that this show has a potential of being as successful as Doc Martin. And I truly believe that we will see more seasons of this show. But yeah, those are my thoughts of Best Medicine as a Doc Martin fan's perspective. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you will give it a like if you'd like. Comment down below your thoughts of maybe things I didn't cover, or your thoughts of what you thought of the season so far. What are your thoughts about these characters? What are you hoping to see by the end of this season? Um, and yeah, turn that notification bell on if you'd like, so you don't miss a um time that I upload. I'm filming this early this week because there is no episode. So this episode may or may not be up on Wednesday instead of Thursday. We will see how it goes. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for watching. And if you stuck this far along in the video, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I enjoy making these videos every week. I just love the show, and I just want to share my thoughts and put a smile on people's faces, if that's possible. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you with another reaction video very soon. Take care.